Carnivore. I'm glad to see everybody here today. We got an exciting show. I know you guys are gonna love it. I was looking forward to it. I'm kind of fanning out, So, um, thank you, Miss Autumn, for being here. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here and hang out with us and answer questions and tell us a little bit about your story and just, have a good time with us. So,
Sure. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me, Sean. For those of you that don't know, my name is Autumn. I have a YouTube channel, Watch Autumn Keto. I don't really make active videos anymore. Actually, I take that back. Every month you can find me doing a keto crate unboxing because that's really become my favorite thing to do on my channel is food unboxing and reviews. But I have tons of video. I started my channel in 2017. So I have videos like full days of eating, what I eat Wednesdays, weigh-ins, all sorts of things, the historical side of my channel. But I started keto in 2017 after just a lifelong of being overweight, right? People that know my story know that I have a twin sister and that growing up, she was always the skinny one and I was always the chubby one. And it's like I had that constant reminder in my face every day of what I could or was supposed to look like. Like we were literally born at the same time to the same parents. We are fraternal though. So we're not identical in that way. But really I just grew up always trying to lose weight. And I did the standard American dieting for years, right? I lived off of 100-calorie packs of Oreos and lean cuisine pizzas. I really had it down and I would lose weight. And then I would be done with that. I would reach a goal and I'd be like, yes, I'm done. I can go back to eating normal, right? And then I go back to eating normal and then I'll just gain it all back. And then I'd be like, okay, and now I must need to do Insanity and Beachbody and get really into shakes, right? And then I would obsess over that and I would lose weight and then I'll be like, woo, I'm done. And then I would go back to how I was eating and then I would gain all the weight back. So I did that for about a decade, but really just wanting to understand how are people supposed to eat? Because I felt coming to this community, one thing I realized I wasn't alone, which was amazing, but I felt alone because I felt is everyone else thinking about food all the time? Does food call out to other people or is that just me? I felt very isolated in that why am I not normal? Why is everyone else in my life, they seem to be normal, but I seem to have this thing, with food. And that all changed in 2015. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which is an inflammatory bowel disease that runs in my family. So I knew that it was possible that I could end up having it. But it turns out I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. But the crazy thing is I was completely symptom free for years. Once they did all my tests and my labs, they were like, it looks like your stomach or your intestines have been inflaming and scarring for 5 years up to this point. And I was like, really? I haven't felt anything. What are you talking about? But, they kind of said, you have Crohn's disease, eat a low fiber diet, and here's this medicine. And then there you go. That's all they said. And honestly, for me, that's really when my mindset started to shift on what I thought I knew about health, because you want high fiber. Everything you know about dieting is eat a high fiber diet. Don't eat white bread, eat wheat bread. Don't eat the white, eat the wheat because you want the fiber. Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, a low fiber diet, is that even healthy? So then that just, spun me off into well, what is a diet? What should I be eating? And even though I was diagnosed in 2015, I really didn't start to have any food symptoms till 2017. I didn't change my diet at all. More lean cuisine pizzas, more 100-calorie packs of Oreos. But in 2017, I noticed that whenever I ate, I would feel horrible for 2 to 3 hours after that. And it really made me sad because eating is one of the things that I love to do. And something that I love to do was causing me such pain. So one day in 2017, I just sat down and Googled food to help you feel better. I was in so much pain that I Googled food to help you feel better. And then literally Dr. Eric Berg, Dr. Ken Berry, those were the first diets that I saw, or those were the first videos that I saw. And they were talking about the keto diet and they were talking about the anti-inflammatory nature of the keto diet. And inflammation was a buzzword that had gotten in my mind because Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease. Before that, I didn't think about inflammation. I thought inflammation was when you had a swollen ankle or, physical outside inflammation, but not internal inflammation, right? And so when I saw the anti-inflammatory properties of the keto diet, I was like, wow, that's really cool. Number two, people are losing how much weight? Like, and I've been trying to lose weight all my life and I can knock it out. And number three, eating what? Eating butter and cheese and hamburgers? Like, wait a minute. Like, I don't like it just turned everything I thought I knew about what people were supposed to eat on its head, right? And so in 2017, that's just when I just dove headfirst into keto and understanding what Dr. Berry now calls the proper human diet, understanding what people are supposed to eat, what food does in your body, and what its point is. You know, up to that point, I had been so focused on losing weight, but never really caring to understand what is food? What does it do to your body when you ingest it? You know, just, and that opened me up to all of that information and knowledge, opened me up to this amazing community that I've been able to build online, opened me up to opportunities to host my own keto conference, and opened me up to opportunities to come sit on lives here with new friends like you. So like that brings us to 2023.
That is awesome. Like you hit so much, you hit it all, honestly. I mean, like, have a good day, guys. No,
I can tell you, you know, the funny thing is, having done this for like 6 years, I've got that elevator pitch down, you know, and so that's what I've been perfecting. I've been, you know, pruning that story for years, and so hopefully, you know, I got to the point. Just for people that might not have known me, but it really is a journey, and everybody comes to it in their own way, right? Yes. And so I try to include as many details and tidbits as possible for people to grasp onto, like, oh, that was me, or I used to think that too, or I used to suffer from that too, or I, you know, like, and so it just coming to this community, it's really where I found my people. It's where I found, like, I'm not alone. Food really does call to people, and we can help each other. We can work together in order to figure out how to overcome this. And even then, learning what sugar does to your body and your brain and why you might crave it. And I was just like, you know, like, it was just amazing.
It's amazing. This community, I tell them all the time, they know it. And I echo it till it almost comes cliche. You know, this community is the best community I've been a part of. Yeah. You know, these people, like, I realized very quickly after coming into Dr. Berry's group and the Carnivore overall keto community, that I needed them as bad as they needed me. You know, it's like a give take. And a lot of people get this mentality of, like, I want to be a member in something, but you know, members have rights and owners have responsibilities.
Hello. Oh, preach. That's deep.
And so I feel like we all need to take ownership in the carnivore community. And I urge people to tell your testimony, testify about what it's done for you, because that's going to be the thing that ends up changing everybody down the road.
Yep. And, you know, and that's what I love. Dr. Berry says that because a lot of people feel like they've told the same story over and over and over again. And he was like, it doesn't matter if you have to tell the same story a zillion times. It's the one person that's going to hear it that hasn't heard it before. Right. And it's about, and you don't have to start your own YouTube channel. You don't have to post on Facebook. The best thing you can do is just live your everyday life and tell your story to the people in your everyday life. And that's going to be much more powerful and actually affecting change and affecting the people around you. Like that's the biggest responsibility we all have, I feel like.
Oh, 100%. And even more than that, before you start talking, live it in front of them, because eventually they're going to see something in you, and they're going to want it.
Yep.
You know, I didn't even get to, you know, really share a lot of my story with you.
Let's go.
But, like, you know, I tell it to them, and I love telling it. At the same time, you know, I'm like, man, it's so shocking even to me. So I started, I was depressed. I spent 3 years on the couch that I now do YouTube from most of the time, not getting up except for to go to the bathroom and back to the couch. I was just extremely depressed. I was hopeless. I couldn't take, I'm 40 years old now. I started this at 39. I couldn't stand in the shower and take a bath without sitting on the side of the tub. Wow. I had type 2 diabetes. I was 457 pounds. I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I had sleep apnea, hypertension, gout. I mean, the list goes on and on.
That's crazy. I got to go look at some pictures, man.
Yeah. So actually, I put the video in here just for this thing. I'm going to show a clip of it real quick.
Yes, please.
This is where it all started. This was last July in the walking challenge with Carnivore Quest. All right, guys. Good morning, Carnivore Quest community. I'm out here putting in my challenge work today for our Carnivore Quest community. Mm-hmm. Doing a little walking around the neighborhood. I didn't want to do it. Didn't feel like doing it. Mm-hmm. Didn't have the motivation to do it. What I've learned is motivation follows action. So I'm putting in my action, producing that motivation. It's hot, it's miserable, but I'm stronger than what I'm doing. And this weight ain't gonna lose itself. You guys keep pushing forward. And if I can do it, you can do it too.
Wow.
So
wow. I am your biggest fan. Wow. That was July. What year was that?
2022. I started eating carnivore April the 17th, 2022. I have lost 245 pounds. I have reversed type 2 diabetes. I've reversed non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
In a year?
In 1 year, yes.
Wow.
And I'm not, and I don't promote that it happens that way for everybody because I know that it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm hesitant about saying it like that because, but I will say this. If it happened to me, it can happen to you. I'm not saying
very well can. Yes.
The thing is, I was in such a dark place that I was grasping for stuff. When I came across that Dr. Berry video, I thought he was nuts. And I bought into it, and I was like, all right, let's see what you got. Something just clicked. It's worth a try.
Yeah.
And I started eating carnivore. And one thing led to another, and then I eat B and E now. And, I've had some off track, but I mean, it obviously, it works. And so
it doesn't take perfection. It just takes consistency. That's all it takes.
Exactly. That's what I was talking to Coach Bronson about last week. I was like, listen, man, you don't have to do it perfect. It don't have to look perfect. All you have to do is do it,
Yeah.
Just because you fail, you don't fail when you mess up. You fail when you quit. You messed up. So
and that's why people quit, because they think they messed up, right? And that is what causes them to quit, which is the ultimate mess up. Like that you don't mess up when you eat non-keto, non-carnivore. You mess up when you decide to give it all up because you ate non-keto, non-carnivore, right? And that is just, but even here's the thing though, and I don't know if you know how profound that was even a year ago when you said it, but motivation follows action, right? Like action doesn't follow motivation. You've got to do it in order to feel like doing it. A lot of people think you got to feel like doing it in order to do it. It's the opposite. You have to do it in order to feel like doing it. And that is a huge, once you learn that lesson, and once you truly internalize that and chase that part of the process, then, waiting to feel like doing it, or when it gets difficult, or when it's annoying, or when you don't, feel like it, that kind of just becomes like the background noise. Because it's like, okay, I know you might not feel like it. I know it's probably annoying, but we're doing it anyway, because we know that's the only way to want to do it, is to do it. And if we know that we want to do it, then you've got to put the action in front of it. And that is just huge. And that was just profound. And that is amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's unbelievable. If I hadn't have experienced it, I've had my wife on to talk with everybody and give her side, and my kid, I got the receipts, I got the blood.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? So I've got it, but it's amazing. I made 2 shirts for this channel, and not because I want money, because I wouldn't even buy one of the shirts because to me they're expensive, but the quotes on the shirts mean a lot. One of them is keep pushing forward, because no matter what you face, you got to keep pushing forward. You might mess up, keep pushing forward. It might be hard, keep pushing forward. No matter what you face, keep going. Number 2, motivation follows action. And I almost didn't like that one because, I looked up the definition, and the definition basically says that kind of the opposite of it,
like the feeling of wanting to do something that then prompts you to do. But that's the problem. That's just where people have it wrong. Like that's because people that want to do things think that you have to be motivated in order to do it. But then people that actually do things realize that you have to do it before you become motivated. And I think that's just really what people have to take a step back and say, do I want to be somebody who wants to do it? Or do I want to be someone who's actually doing it and then find the people that are actually doing it and just follow what they do. And they will tell you, I did it when I didn't feel like it. I did it when it was tough. I did it when it wasn't perfect, but I had to do it anyway. And then you emulate those actions, and that's huge.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So the other thing, I could talk like that for hours, my friend, because I'm having a blast. Before I go much further, I do want to talk about the Keto Palooza, because like that's the hot thing. I know everybody, like there can't be anybody in the audience right now. Also, hold up though. I lost. So what I was distracted while you were talking a little bit. I lost all my comment feeds, so I turned my phone on to actually try to view the comments. If you guys have a question for Miss Autumn, put a Q by it on, and I will look for it the best I can. And if it gets kind of lost in translation, I'm still glad you made it. So
absolutely.
Anyway, yeah. So Keto Palooza, everybody's looking forward to it. Tell us, now I know how it started, because I've watched you for a little while here and there when I can, and you went to an event in 2019. You left, but you wanted something that you didn't get, so you came. The vision was born.
I mean, was it born, or like did my followers and like my subscribers, I really credit them with starting, with being just the motivation behind Keto Palooza. So, as you mentioned, I used to go live every single day on my YouTube channel, and it was exhausting, but it was also amazing because I got to catch up with my friends every single day. And so when things were happening in my life, I'd be like, and tomorrow I'm doing this, and next week I'm doing this. And one day on Instagram, I saw a poster for a Louisville keto meetup. And I was ecstatic because I had been doing keto for 2 years at that point. And I really didn't know people in Louisville, Kentucky that did keto. And I said, oh my gosh, you guys, there's this keto meetup coming up in a month. And I'm so excited. I just bought tickets. I'm finally going to get to meet people and to make friends in real life. And then I'd say, oh my gosh, the meetup's in 3 weeks. The meetup's in 2 weeks. The meetup is in a week. Oh my gosh, you guys, the meetup is tomorrow. I can't wait. I'm going to have so much fun, and I'm going to come back and tell you how it was, right? And then I went to the meetup, and the meetup was perfectly fine in a sense. Like I had never really been to a meetup, so I didn't know what to expect. But I also realized I had expectations that weren't necessarily met, And then, of course, the next day I hop on live, and the questions, how was the meetup? How was it? How was it? Just so many questions. And honestly, I was a little bummed. I was just like, it was okay, but I didn't make any friends. Like that's why I went there, was to make friends. And it just felt like everyone already knew each other. Me and my mom walked in fashionably late, and we got our swag bag, and then we were just looking around, and everyone was talking, and we're just like, we'll go sit over here, right? And so we sat at the bar, because it was at a restaurant and bar. We sat at the bar, and we just like nibbled on all our, swag bag snacks. And then after a couple of hours, we left. After the giveaways, we left. And we left there not knowing one more person, not getting one person's name, than when we got there. And so I was talking about that on my live the next day. And I was just like, because if I had a meetup, I would make it to where, you had a reason to talk to people. And I would make it so that every person felt valued. And I would make it so that I'm just kind of word vomiting all these like wishes for the perfect meetup. And, my subscribers in the comments, they were just like, you should host that, Autumn. If you made that meetup, I would come, I would travel. And I was just like, no, guys, because most of my followers are not from Louisville. Like, that's the whole point. Like, they're from all over the country and the world at this point. And I was like, guys, that's too much to like come all the way to Louisville, Kentucky. Like, would you really come to Louisville, Kentucky just to hang out? And it was just a resounding yes. And so that's how the Keto Palooza was born. I was just like, that's crazy. I couldn't host a meetup. Like, like where would we have it? What would we do? And then I was just like, well, how much does it cost to rent a hotel ballroom? I just like Googled, and I started calling places. And then before you know it, I realized it's a lot easier than you think. And I'm like, really? That's all I have to do is to, so I was like, okay, guys, here it is. I'm doing it, and I set the date for May 2020. And then of course in March, that just like blew up. And so we kept having to kick it down the road, and I moved it to September. And I was like, guys, do you even really want to do this? Like, we can postpone it till next year. And they were like, no, we want to come. We still want to have it. So luckily, there was only 30 people there. And at that point, Kentucky law for gatherings was you had to have it in a place that had much larger capacity. So we were in a hotel ballroom that had like 100, that room for 100, but there's only 30, 35 of us there. But we met for the first time. We were all wearing masks. We were all like social distancing, hugging,
Oh yeah, you got.
you know,
Oh
like we
yeah,
couldn't do any of that. So, but it was still just the funnest time ever. It was just so fun and so enriching and just so amazing. And then as everyone was leaving, they were just like, thanks, Autumn. See you next year. And I was like, next year? You know, like, no, this was a one-time thing. But
right.
it quickly became evident that, like, hey, if you had another one of these, I would come and I would bring a friend. And
Mhm.
that was crazy to me. So I was like, what if we did this again next year, you know? And that's when, because at that first one, we didn't have any speakers. I had some giveaways, but like it was a meetup. And then the next year, I had become friends with Chris and Miriam Bear from Keto Chow, and that relationship, that was just pivotal in opening my eyes to what was possible in this community. And it was amazing. And so I was like, maybe I could have sponsors, maybe I could have speakers, maybe I could have maybe I could have. And now
Mhm.
we're on the fourth year. And we're having it at the Galt House Hotel in downtown
Mhm.
Louisville. We have 7 amazing speakers. Attendance will be 300 people. So it'll go from 30 to 300. And I'm so grateful and I'm so amazed. And I want this to be the meetup event that everyone, if it's your first one, I always say, if it's your first event, you're going to be sad because there's going to be no other events like this. You're going to go to so many other conferences thinking they're like this, and they're not, right? But if this is, you've been to other events before, I don't want this to compare in terms of how much time you get to talk and meet with other people, not only people that you might know, but people that you don't know. One of the things that I really strive to make is genuine in-person connections with people that you might not have known when you got there. And so
And
that's what I make sure. I make sure I look every person in the eye as much as I can. Thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're here. Like, let's talk, let's chat. Just because we once again, as overweight people, as socially anxious people, it's not in our inclination to walk up and introduce ourselves and do all of that stuff, right? And I just want to create the environment where that is possible and is welcomed and people feel safe to do that.
and that's like we'll cut after the same cloth about the community thing because that's like where my heart is, yeah. And it will be, I've never been to an event at all, so it's definitely gonna, that's my thing.
I would
So,
love for you to
you
be there.
like online, I was talking, like I said, I was telling you before we jumped on that,
Mhm.
James and Emily had said, "Hey, are you going?" And I was like, "Well, you know what? I never thought about that, but yeah, that would be awesome to do if I can
It
work it
would be
out and
awesome.
make it happen." So,
Yeah, we'd love to see you. And it really, there's just nothing like being there in person, and online is great. And I know, like, we all have lives, we all have budgets, we all have
mhm,
jobs, things we got to do. But
mhm,
if there's ever a time that you set aside time and energy and effort to put towards something, I definitely recommend a conference. If it's not Keto Palooza,
mhm.
there's so many other ones going on. There's Orlando, there's Omaha. Like, there's just so many other places. Get to one near you because there's just nothing like meeting people in person.
Oh, absolutely, and that's some of the things too. Like even on the channel, I emphasize obviously everybody telling their story, but what I've been trying to do is figure out a way, because I know Dr. Barry does it, I know Dr. Kiltz does it, and I'm sure many other people do it. Is figure out a way to break it down and like even through like the memberships or however it works.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to do Zoom calls to get that interaction, and
Yeah.
it's obviously still over the internet, so it's not
Yeah.
ideal. But you
Well,
could
I mean,
form a.
even then, yeah, Zoom calls. So I have Zoom calls with my patrons. So I have a Patreon, and so yeah, that is just even another way to, because once again, as we're doing these lives and you're posting videos, it's very one way. We can maybe read your comment and react, but there's nothing like seeing somebody face to face and just talking to them and having a conversation and getting to know the complete person, outside of the screen name that you see on the internet.
Oh, absolutely. And community is huge, man. You're going to make relationships and form stuff like, I mean, like I stumbled across Dr. Barry and then I went into Carnivore Quest community. And
Mm-hmm.
like me and Larry, Berkeley's from Carnivore Quest
Yeah.
community, like we talk on the phone all the time.
Yeah. Real friends, and they'll be there. So you should.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it is really like a family reunion because
Yeah.
it's like family.
Yeah.
So I think you guys, I put the link down below. It's ticking across as we go.
And I appreciate that.
And in the description, you guys can pick up tickets or however you want to do for that.
Mm-hmm.
And that part's amazing. So I definitely wanted to hit that up. And man, so also I wanted to ask. So what drives Autumn? What drives you to do it? I know you stated how you came into this and everything, but so what drives you now though? Like obviously you could find plenty of other stuff to do.
Yeah. So at this point, what drives me now is overhauling my thinking. It's not even about the food anymore. Like, because after you do this for so long, like, you know what's keto and what's not, right? You know what's carnivore and what's not. Like, should I eat 20 grams of carbs or 26 grams? Like, that's not the work anymore. That's not the work that we do, right? It's mental. It's understanding why we as humans and people continue to act out of our own best interest, and that's when people use phrases like I fell off the wagon, or I fell really hard off keto and I'm trying to get back on, just wondering, well, why do we fall off? Why do we consider how we eat this separate part of our lives to only be done when the conditions are perfect, but then as soon as something happens, I guess I have to revert to my old habits, like really changing who we identify as people. Like, and so really I'm working on changing who I identify as. Like, I'm a person that exercises. I don't exercise because I want to lose weight, or I don't exercise because I'm trying to do it. Like, I'm exercising for my health. I don't eat in a way because I'm trying to lose weight. I'm eating because I understand what health is and how food helps you achieve and maintain that. And that's the type of person I want to be. And that's the type of person I am. And so really just, and I know we say this all the time, like, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, but like really incorporating these habits into who I am and turning who I am into a culmination of these habits, right? And that's really what I've been working on. And every day is an opportunity to do better. And more importantly, those old situations that would have driven me to emotionally eat, that would have driven me to binge eat, that would have driven me to just mindlessly eat. That's why I love your name, like intentional, like really being intentional about especially what I'm eating and how much I'm eating. That's my number one goal. That's my number one goal now, because we just used to give ourselves permission to zone out, especially on like a cheat day or something, or just we're looking for like, you just go for it. You deserve it. Like all this stuff that we tell ourselves,
You earned it.
Yeah, you earned it. And so really just always being intentional, taking a step back when I would be in those old situations, saying, okay, old Autumn would have given herself permission to zone out and say, hey, we don't have to count today. We've weighed and measured and you got this. You deserve it. Just it's okay to blank out, right? This is the moment I would have done that. Am I going to choose something different now? And it's really just becoming aware of all of the situations, because one thing I've learned is that we relegate things to our subconscious. Like, all our brain wants to do is figure out how to be efficient. And when it can tell that you do the same thing over and over again, it just moves it to your subconscious. It's like, we don't even have to think. We'll just do that by default. But a lot of the times, the default actions and habits that we have are the ones that have led us to becoming unhealthy. Yes. So now I'm bringing all those habits to the surface, all of those decisions to the surface to say, is this something I really want to do? Or is this just the way I've done it for so long? And I'm just examining every time I come into one of those opportunities. I'm examining, like, what do I want to do right now? And who do I want to become? Yeah, I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits. He says every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to be. So it's just like, who do I want to be, and how can I keep casting votes to be that person? And that's really what I've been working on these days.
That is awesome. So, and it's amazing to hear it and hear your side of it and the way that you're bringing that about. Because, I say all the time to the people on the channel, I'm like, listen, if you can get your mind right, your body will follow. Yeah. Your mind is so efficient at tricking you, and those things, those lifestyles and the way that you think is so ingrained. Yeah. But if you can ingrain the new way into you, but to where it does become that habit, then you don't have to think about it. Stop.
Yeah, it's the saying, like, neurons that fire together wire together, right? And so the more that two things are associated, and the more your brain can associate those two things, it'll bind them together. It's like, sit down to watch TV, grab a bag of chips. Go to the movies, get popcorn. That's it. Like, have a sad day, go get ice cream. Like, these things just fuse together. because every time you take those actions, you're strengthening that bond. But all it takes is one time not taking that action to break that bond, and it becomes just as easy to wire something else. And that's really what I've been working on.
That's right. That's awesome. I do have a couple questions. Let's see.
Sure.
Let's see. With all the people you've talked to, do you think there are those who have the most weight loss are the ones who lose weight the fastest? Um,
So I think it's a math game. Like for a person like you that weighs over 400 pounds, or that
mhm,
weighed over 400 pounds, it is just science that by nature that you are going to have a lot more body fat to lose, and your body, in my opinion, is going to be able to release that a lot more quickly.
mhm,
But at the same time, even comparing, I just shy away from comparing weight loss, pounds lost in any respect, because it honestly doesn't matter.
mhm,
And I know that we come to this community and we see so many inspirational stories about the number of pounds people have
mhm.
lost, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. Reclaiming your health and your quality of life, which, don't get me wrong, does come with losing some weight and some body fat. Like it is a part of it, but it's when you can let go of those comparisons, those numbers, and really just embrace the lifestyle that you're claiming. Like that's the most important part to me.
Oh, absolutely. And the best part, I never focused on the weight loss. And I honestly, and I talked a little bit about this before with other people. Um, I would trade the weight loss for the depression being gone because it was that bad.
Mm.
Like I
Yeah,
despaired of life. When you don't have hope and you don't want to, you
yes,
can't make yourself do everyday things. You
yeah.
can't do anything, and you're in such a depressed state like that mentally.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horrible place to be
Yeah,
because you start believing your own lies. You start
yeah,
doing things that are out of your character. You can't
yeah.
have the quality of life, not
Mm-hmm.
alone with all the health problems and everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
The weight
That's
loss is great, but the
yeah.
depression and everything being gone,
Yeah,
it's not
that's
even
huge.
controversy.
And so that's another part of my story that I don't really talk about, is that the weight was a big thing for me.
Mhm,
I was always reaching, I was reaching for a certain goal weight. And I noticed that even on keto, I started to do really unsustainable things. Let me see how little I can eat. Let me skip, like eating and all these things. And not in a healthy, not in a way to like help my body, autophagy, blah, blah, blah. It was like,
mhm,
can I make the number on the scale smaller tomorrow?
mhm,
And a lot of my action really drove toward that. And one day I stepped on the scale and I hit my goal weight. I think it was under 160. So maybe 159, 155, one of those numbers.
mhm.
And I just remember looking in the mirror and still being so angry, like the same arm fat, the same love handles, the same stomach pooch, everything that I had hated before was still there. And I
Mhm.
thought that 159 was going to do it. I thought, like, oh my gosh, like that will be it. And when I stepped on the scale and I looked in the mirror and I was just so let down, I got very angry. And I tell people, yeah, I hit my goal weight for about 2 hours, because as soon as I was like, that's it, that's all, I was like, well, then let me go to the store and let me buy all the things I deprived myself of, because if this is all it is, I did all of this for nothing, and
Mhm.
I went on like a 2, 3, 4 month, I just rejecting the notion of like, well, what's the point of suffering and doing all that stuff I had to do if the number didn't even fix it? I thought the number was going to fix it, right? And that, and so here's the thing: from my lowest weight, I gained a significant amount of weight back, like, and it's hard to say right now, like, I don't care, because it's like, well, you're supposed to care, we're in a weight loss diet, but it's just like, I don't care, because like you said, I have joy, like I am happy, I
Yes.
am fulfilled, I eat in a way that I truly love every day. Like, I don't equate the way I'm eating with suffering
Yeah.
to get to an end goal, right? Like, this, I've truly found a way of eating that I love. And if that means I gotta have 30, 40, 50 extra pounds, because guess what? I'm still in the gym. I'm still throwing weights around. I'm still getting my steps in. Like,
Mhm.
I'm still living, once again, the quality of life that I want to live. It just happens to be in a body that weighs more pounds, right?
Mhm.
And it's just, and that was also just a really hard disconnect of just being like, is it okay to not care how much you weigh, right? Like, And I had to, yes, it is okay, because it's okay, because I worry about my health. I worry about what I'm eating that's going to support the goals that I have for my health in my life. But none of those goals have to do with making the number on the scale smaller anymore. They just really don't.
Oh, absolutely. And you understand that you're valuable like you are.
Mm-hmm.
You love yourself. And
Yeah.
and then it becomes you understanding and loving yourself and
Yeah.
understanding that you're valuable
Yeah. And I'm
like you are,
proud of myself,
and you're proud of
And a
yourself.
lot of people, and a lot of people and a lot of women, and because this is what I talk about now. Like whenever I do talks, like I was just on the low carb cruise, I'm going to be in Orlando, I'm going to be in Tennessee. Whenever I give talks, it's about how to love yourself
Mhm.
and be proud of yourself no matter what. Because as a person that's lost weight and gained it back, the only thing in your mind is I have to get back. I can't be happy until I'm back to the lowest weight. I can't really be satisfied until I'm back to the lowest weight. Like once you've seen a number on the scale, that is just ingrained as the I've got to get back there before I can feel good again. But I realized, I looked around, I was like, but I actually feel good now. Like I felt like I was doing something wrong by feeling happy, even though I wasn't the smallest number on the scale.
Yeah,
And so that's really where my talk is just in helping people realize you've got to be happy and proud now. And like you said, the weight loss will follow.
absolutely. Oh my! In numbers, it's almost like money. You know, you can never have enough money. You can never
Exactly.
lose enough weight. You can never be the
Exactly.
ideal weight.
Exactly.
It's just numbers. Just
Yeah.
you know.
And
I
yeah,
know it's
it's just
important.
it's really it if it helps. And that's another thing that I've also realized is like I only want to do things in my life that are that are helpful. Like if
Mhm,
weighing yourself every day is helpful for you, because if it gives you data, like because here's the thing, I still weigh myself every day. I just
mhm,
look, I just talked 10 minutes soliloquy on how weight doesn't matter and I don't care, but I weigh myself every day because I
mhm,
like to have the numbers. I like to see the data, and it's helpful for me. I've gotten to the point in my life where that number doesn't affect me at all. A lower number doesn't make me
mhm,
happy. A higher number doesn't make me sad. It is what it is. Okay, tick mark, check, write the number down. I got this awesome little Excel graph going, and it does this. And I don't, but like, that's all I use it for. And so I
mhm,
started wondering, like, are the things I'm doing helpful for me or are they harmful?
mhm.
And if it's harmful, just stop it immediately. If having a goal weight that you're like striving toward is harmful, if it makes you feel like you have to suffer and toil to get to where you want to go,
Mhm.
stop it immediately, right? And I know it's easier said than done, but that's really where I've gotten to in my journey is anything that's not helpful, I stop.
Mhm. And that's another non-scale victory, honestly, that I count as a win. Because what I've found in my own journey is that, like, once you start working on one thing and you start fixing one thing, then it starts. It's almost like multiplication. You
Yeah.
get this one thing, you're working towards this, and then you get that done. And I mean, it branches out and
Yeah.
affects every area
Yeah.
of your being, because then you start understanding. Look, I've got boundaries. I'm not breaking my boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna break them and make the example that everybody else can break them. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna surround myself with good people. Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna do this, or whatever the
Yeah.
case is. Something about the change that you mentally make when you determine
Yeah.
that you don't have to live how you
Yeah.
accepted and
And
been
you apply that to every other facet of your life. I mean, yeah, I done quit my job, started a business, got another
living.
job, got married. I mean, like you apply it to everything. Like, wait a minute, if I can do this, and if I can use the principles that I've learned in doing this, you can apply it to everything.
Oh,
And that's another reason that I have, in my opinion, my fullest and most fulfilled life right now is because I'm taking those lessons and habits and I'm applying them to everything. I'm just turning everything up.
absolutely.
And it's exciting. I just got a regular everyday life, but it's exciting. And
Yeah.
I love, that's what real success is waking up every day, loving the life you live, choosing the life that you live, right? And I choose this life every day, and I choose, myself being me, striving to be better every single day, and that's real success.
Absolutely, being happy.
Yeah.
Yes. Kind of says, I have an identical twin. We think we are adopted. Do you feel competition with your twin? excuse me, with your twin helped or harmed your weight loss journey?
Harmed, definitely. It was not helpful because once again, we are fraternal. We
Mm-hmm.
were two completely different people that just happened to form at the same time. Nothing about us was the same, right? So my unrealistic expectations that because she's skinny, I should be skinny.
Mm-hmm.
And chasing, well, how much does she weigh? Because I want to weigh less than that. Like it did not help at all. I'm 2 inches taller than her. I take after my mom. She takes after our dad. Like there was no reason I should have spent so much time comparing myself to her. And now I don't even like we don't even really think about each other in that way anymore because we're two completely separate people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh man, I hate that my thing messed up because I'm used to displaying them up on the screen. But
So what happened to your comments?
man, I have no idea. I was playing with it a while ago, and I kept
Mm-hmm.
hitting the thing and
Mm-hmm.
changing it. Maybe it's because I put the video up. I don't know.
Oh
Stream
yeah, I
yard
don't know.
better. Come on now.
I know, right?
So,
I have a comments tab, but there's nothing in it. So
well, yeah, I don't know what's I don't know. That's the same thing I was looking at, and I'm like, I don't
mm-hmm.
know. I'll have to research it whenever I get there, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped up and excited. That's like me and Bronson, like I said last week, we were talking back and forth, and we got going on each other. And the more he got going, the more pumped up I got. I was like, man, we got to have church in here or something.
Yeah, I love Coach Brunson and Coach Natalie. Yeah, he was my Coach Brunson was the one of the speakers that I had at the first Keto Palooza that had speakers. So the second year, 2021, I was like, let me just branch out here. You know, I had Dr. Barry, which was huge, which was mind blowing. Like that, I even could talk to him. Now we're best friends, and it's just like I used to just like fan out over this person. That, and not only that, like we do business together. Like we're colleagues. If you like, it's just crazy. Your whole life can change if you just apply these lessons and get after it. Like your whole life can change. And so between Chris and Miriam, Dr. Barry, Coach Bronson, Joe and Rachel from Two Crazy Ketos, like that's really just been the close knit bubble of people that I've built and met, and it's just amazing.
It is. It's amazing. And like even obviously I'm not running around Dr. Barry. Like I actually texted him yesterday, and I communicate with him in the group and all. But like having him on the show, having Dr. Chapey on the show, having you on the show, having all these things, it's almost like every single time I'm like I said when I opened, fanboying out because I laid on the couch. A year ago, I remember the one. What was it? Like I said, KetoCon. It was Nurse Cindy and Crazy Ketos, and there was something going on with the audio, and they were announcing for you guys, and Nisha spoke at that one, and I remember laying on the couch, still just been started in this way of eating at that time. Now here I am. Wow. So
that's amazing.
That should push everybody. Like I said, you don't know who you're you don't know who you're going to impact. You don't know whose life you're going to change. And then like Dr. Barry, I had him on the show, and I was able to, make a commitment to him to show him just a small bit of my appreciation. And that was awesome for me because he would have never known otherwise. But he sparked this, and I get to spark other. And I've had thousands of emails, and I was on the phone even last night with someone from the that found me off the channel and wanted to talk, and said, gave me the story about it. So if you're at home watching this today, it could be you next year. It could be
And here's the thing that I've been hearing this lately, and I've actually heard it a long time ago, but it really just set in with me. But like the time is gonna pass anyway. Like it's not like time is going to freeze and you're just going to be stuck here, or you got to start this long, hard uphill battle. Like the time is going to go by. Like, and so you might as well just settle in for the long run. Like, who cares if it takes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? I'm on year 6 and I still like, and after a while, counting doesn't make sense because if you're going to do this forever, what's the what's the point of accumulating? And so it's just really about deciding to become a different person, deciding to become a person that does things instead of talking about doing things. And I heard of a saying recently that really it drives home the point. It's so true, but humans learn by doing. A lot of time people think that they learn by learning, and that's not true. You don't learn by watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, like watching Instagram stories. Yeah, you can consume that content for a certain amount of time, but after that, you can't get anything else from it. You've got to do it. That's how you're going to get better at it. It's not like I can start once I listen to this 101st podcast because that'll give me the answer. Like, you'll never have the answer until you start doing it.
Yes. You got to grab a hold of it.
Yeah.
And I know there's probably a bunch that's going to see this video. I'm starting tomorrow. I'm starting next week. Stop kicking that can down the road, my friend.
Exactly.
Today is your day.
Yeah. And it's not helpful. It's not going to help. And here's, because like I said, I've done so much research over the years. There's this style of binging that I used to do. That is called anticipated restriction binging. And it's like, okay, I'm going to start on Monday. Today's Wednesday. So say you're going to start your diet on Monday. That means that you're going to spend Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday getting in all the stuff that you're never going to be able to have after that. Like, that's anticipated restriction binging, and just realizing that it's like, there's no point to anticipate this restriction. Start tomorrow. It's not, and it's only restrictive if that's how you think about it. Because a lot of people have said, it's freeing. Like you said, it's freeing. It's liberating to only eat 5 things, like, and who'd have thought? Like, society wants to tell you that that's restrictive, but it's all about your mindset and how you approach it.
Yeah, absolutely. You keep living according to your own ways. You're a slave to your own desires. You got to get real freedom is being dedicated to something bigger than you.
Comes from discipline. Freedom comes from discipline.
Absolutely. If you could change one thing about the journey you've been on so far, like that you've had to overcome, what would it be? Like, whether it's with the Keto Palooza, the channel, something you had to overcome that you wish you could change.
So really, the 2018 when I got to my lowest weight, that's really when I got the most angry and depressed, because I noticed I started doing the unsustainable things to reach a goal. Like, I had keto, so I had this tool, but then I also had these other tools that weren't helpful, like restrictive eating, like, trying to see how little food I could survive, over exercising, thinking that I knew better than professionals. Oh, they say never eat fewer than 1,200 calories, but like, I know me, I could probably go down to 900. Like, it was that really, like, I'm going to start applying all of these really destructive tools to keto, which was helpful in itself, but I want it to be more, faster, quicker. If that's good, this is great, and so that's really everything that kind of led to that lowest low, which was a low weight, but it was also a low mental point. I was agitated and moody, and I was angry, and I was hungry all the time, and I was sad. But at least I weighed 155, like, that just, it really took a lot for me to understand how unhealthy I was, and how keto is not the answer for that. Like, because you can be eating keto, but if you have the wrong mindset about it, it can be just as damaging as all of those other standard American dieting diets. And so, if anything, but once again, I'm the type of person, I don't live with regrets. Everything is a lesson. Everything got me to where I am today. But if that's just something I wish I would have kept an eye out on a lot earlier than getting to that point.
That's good stuff. That is good stuff. And so you guys leave the comments if you have any more questions. I've been trying to look for them. I think they got a lot of conversating in and back between them.
Yeah, that's how my people do too. I'm just like, oh, well, everyone's talking to each other. I'll just do a song and dance over here.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I was watching some of I was watching some of the Keto Palooza things, the videos that you have up from the redos or from last year. Yeah, and I was over here dancing in the music.
Yeah.
I was like, I have my headset in and getting on. I got it. That's one thing another thing that I've had to overcome is, man, I'm not a YouTuber. Like, I mean, I could speak at least a lot clearer now than I was when I started. Cause I was like, my 3rd or 4th interview was with Dr. Chafee. And I was like, man, this guy is smart. Like, what am I? And I worked in EMS. I was a paramedic for 12 years. So like, or I was a paramedic and worked EMS for 12 years. Yeah. And, So I knew a little bit about the body, but I'm not a surgical
Yeah.
resident
Yeah,
for
there's like some imposter, like, well, how
I'm,
did I get here?
yeah.
I'm gonna get found out.
Yeah, I'm like I could like talk to him and whatever, but then I was like, stumbling. But so I mean, I enjoy it. I love it. I'm figuring it out. I definitely got a lot more to figure out, and a lot of growing, but it's inspiring, and I really have a great time doing it. And
Yeah, and that's all that matters, is that you have a great
mhm,
time doing it. And here, look, I know you're new at this, but as someone that's
mhm,
been in it for a while, I just also want to tell you, it's okay if you no longer have a great time doing it. Because I wrestle with a lot of like guilt of just like dropping off, of like not making as many videos as I used to. But
mhm,
like I said, I chase happiness. Like,
yeah,
and right now, this is my life. Like making those YouTube videos that I used to make doesn't make me happy the way that it used to, right?
mhm,
And so I'm just like, I'm still showing up in a way that makes me happy. It looks different than it did before.
mhm.
But as internet online personalities, you do start to feel this pressure of like, well, this is what people expect, and this is what they've gotten used to, and this and that. You just get bogged down, and it's okay to just be like, hey guys, I'm just a regular person. Like I
Mhm.
know that I've kind of set this train in motion, but like I get to pull the brakes if I need to,
Oh, of
And
course.
so it's just once another thing I had to figure out.
And that's a good lesson. I appreciate the tip too, because like I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I tell them all the time, I am a regular. If you meet me in person at Keto Palooza, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be this is the dude you're going to meet.
Yeah.
The stories that I tell, it's not Hollywood. It's
Yeah.
definitely not pretty, but like
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I specifically just started this because of I've been blessed, and I feel like because I've been blessed, God is going to expect me to answer for that when I see Him one day.
Mm-hmm.
How will I be able to answer him if I've been blessed the way that I've been blessed and I don't share it with other
You don't
people?
share it. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just part of my walk and part of my journey and part of my responsibility. And I love these people and I love the interaction and I love making friends and I love continuing to work with each person. Um, it's important to me, and I don't have to force anything on anybody. I don't have to. I'm not even trying to really convince you. I'm just trying to be the example and live in front of you in such a way that the two
Mm-hmm.
things that changed my life, Jesus and the carnivore diet, ketogenic way of eating, are the
Mm-hmm.
two things that saved my life. And
Yeah.
if I live in such a way that represents that well, other people
Yeah.
going to want it. And if you
Yeah.
don't, that's your choice in your business. I still
Yeah.
love
Yeah. But if
it.
you're looking for something, you can't deny when it's right in front of you.
Absolutely, 100%. So I don't see any more, but tell everybody where they can find you, and I put the links in the description. But
Yes.
the show is yours, my friend.
Sure. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Once again, you can find me on YouTube. My channel is Watch Autumn Keto. I post keto crate unboxings and product reviews every month. Also, I go live on YouTube every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for Whack Wednesday. But also, my husband and I have another channel where we go live every Sunday. It's our personal channel called The Weathers Channel. Exactly. So we go live every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. You can find me at a variety of conferences coming up. So in August, I'm going to be at Keto Orlando Summit. And then later in August, there's the Low Carb for Better Health Summit happening in Tennessee. And then in October, I'm hosting my very own conference called Keto Palooza. It's the 4th annual. We would love to see you there. The tickets and links to information are in the description box below and scrolling across the bottom of the screen.
Mhm.
But like I said, if you don't get to Keto Palooza, just get somewhere if you can, right? Just because there's nothing like meeting your people in person. I love the community I've been able to build over these last 6 years, and I just look forward to serving them in whatever capacity I feel like it for the years to come.
Absolutely. You heard it right there, guys. And thank you so much once again. And I appreciate you coming on, giving me the time today and speaking and sharing with us. And it means the world to me. And
Thank you for
everybody,
the invite.
absolutely. You guys, I love you guys. You guys take care. Get strong and stay strong and keep pushing forward. And we'll see you guys next time. Share the video. If you haven't subscribed, since I'm so horrible at that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Eh, Make yourself at home and stay a while. Until next time, we'll see you guys.